Yes, and streaming live. Good morning. Good to be here. Beautiful Monday morning, the 6th of December, 2021. And every time I think about December, I get to think it's a few days to the end of the year. I mean, I do that minus and plus every day, and I'm like, oh, how many days to Christmas now? How many days to Christmas now? So it's just 19 days to Christmas, which means you and I must be getting ready to buy the Christmas chicken, the Christmas rice. And while you're at it, hope you're already heeding my advice and taking care of what you will give to your neighbors and family members who do not have enough to celebrate Christmas as well as you do. My name is Tomisi, and it's always a pleasure being here with you Monday morning on the Bumper Breakfast. And Inka Kenny joined me this morning feeling fly, and she's feeling like, who gave you money over the
feeling
weekend?
myself.
Confess it.
Feeling
Somebody gave you money. Confess it. Let me just give you a account number you give me.
Tomisi, you know what? I told you. Since that's my last year 45th birthday.
That's what?
I want to be feeling myself.
Last week, you were not feeling yourself. You were angry with Nigeria. You were so angry with Nigeria.
This year 46, I said, it's like I did not feel myself very well.
So you're now...
I want to begin to feel...
So you'll not be angry about Nigeria again? Promise everybody on national television right now.
No, I will still say it when things are wrong. I will still say it because this is our Nigeria.
Is that one that used to pay me? Because I'm telling you now, feel yourself and leave our Nigeria alone for the rest of us who are just managing it.
Honestly, talking about feeling myself. You know, I went to like a pint of Ghana over the weekend.
You see what we're talking about? I said there must be something. This excitement of hello, good morning, Tommy. See, there must be something.
You know, I've been dreaming of that like a pint of Ghana. It just came on a platter of gold,
and then you went back.
You know, somebody placed me on embargo. You know now, that like a pint of Ghana thing. So I just said, I said to him, I want to go to toilet. He said, it's like God just granted you this like a pint of Ghana.
But you had fun, right?
I had fun. It was
worth the while.
It was worth the while. It was an epic weekend. You know, it was a program, African International Music Award. So I was there with a senior colleague. We did our thing, like what we do. We know how to
Afrima?
do. AIM is AIM Festival.
AIM Festival, okay.
AIM Festival. So it was beautiful. It was very, very. You could have artists from various parts of Africa.
I know the colleague you're talking about. Wait. Uncle Yemi. Let me just tell you now. You know that me, I'm your protege. She's your friend. Me, I'm your sister. Me, I'm your co-alumnus. So you are now taking somebody to La Tropicana, La Comoda, like whatever. Want yourself.
Must you call it Coco? In fact,
did I mention the surname? I said Uncle Yemi. The Uncle Yemi knows who I'm talking about now. What is your own with my son? Anyway, let's welcome our guest this morning. You got a peep into her just a couple of minutes ago. I'm talking about the Vice President of Evolving. I keep saying Evolving Women in Politics, Chief Mrs. Raliat Abdulsallam. Good morning.
Good morning, Tomisi. I'm happy to be here.
It's a pleasure having you.
Good to have you on the show.
She's one of the early ones.
Thank you.
She's one of the early ones. So when she left home, I knew because I was getting. She has left. Oh, she's coming from far. Remember?
Where does she stay? Where do you stay?
I live in VI.
Victoria Island.
Yes.
But you'll be moving against the traffic this morning.
We still always keep to time. I got to the studio before the two of you.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to say that on national TV.
But we can also tell her why she got to the studio before the two of us. She brought all of the paraphernalia that we used to do at home to the studio to come.
Okay.
You get the idea. Let me get to the studio. Let me look at the environment. Let me settle down. You see that our makeup is not as runny as our own because our own is fresh. Our own has been done.
Are you sure I'm wearing makeup?
Okay, she's not wearing makeup.
So when she decides to wear makeup
like this, she woke up like this, so she doesn't wear makeup. Please.
Oh my God, good to have you.
I mean, I love Nigerian women.
And to say that you're such a pretty woman.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Please, don't steal my auntie this time around. You have stolen up with me. Let's leave that one on that side. Don't cheat this one. It's not Wednesday. Don't crush her now.
I appreciate beauty.
I know.
I see one. So.
After all, I have somebody who always calls you How is that fine woman in your office?
Silly
Let's
guy.
take a look at some of the
Good
stories in
morning.
the
Allow me
papers.
greet Nigerians this morning. My name is Yinka Kenny.
You told them that you had fun over the weekend. What else?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. With all the wahala in this country, honestly,
She has started again.
you need to
Relax
just
sometimes.
relax. Do you know that when someone called me and I said I was on my way to Ibejule, she said, "I have to do what? You're going for that your meeting Sunday and Saturday?" I said, "No." So I'm going to like a punch up. I said, "Oh, you have some work." I said, it's a different feature. Must it be work?
Yeah,
I said, it's work and fun.
It's work and fun, but it was work.
She said, work must be inside it.
Because I know you will not drive all the way to that place.
My God,
If work
it's
was
on
not-
on national TV.
It's not, it's on
Okay, let's see
notice.
what we have in the papers this morning.
You agree?
Yes, let's go ahead.
All right, so one of the topics that we are discussing this morning makes the story on the front page of the papers today, but I'll begin with the one that affects the whole of Nigeria right now, and that's Omicron. Omicron seems to be the only thing we're talking about, and the Minister of Information and Culture yesterday, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, was speaking to the United Nations, WTO, that's the World Tourism, and mentioned to them, the World Tourism Organization, thank you, and was saying to them that vaccine, 6%, 5% people vaccinated in Africa, blah, blah, blah. The point is that Nigerians are not getting vaccinated, and people in developing countries are not getting vaccinated. Is vaccines available? Even the ones that are available, you are not going to take it. It's the problem. Now, travelers are stranded in Lagos and Abuja airport. UK halts visa application from Nigeria. Some people will kill me right now because I want to laugh. US to insist on viral tests at the airport. Tests done in Nigeria, others no longer tenable in Canada. Federal government cares. Now that's the one that should give us goose pimples. Tests done in Nigeria and others. Others means
but
African countries.
But Thomas, do you blame them? Honestly, do you blame them? You find, unfortunately, someone said to me that at the time Edo State government gave the order of no vaccination, no work in Edo State, you found people hawking the card on the road. We hear a lot of stories. We hear people, paying money to get the cards. You hear a lot of stories, and these people, they are not deaf. They understand, and this is a
And we put the stories on social media. Let me come to you.
But the thing is that even if we do not put the stories on social media, it's a right for people to know what's going on. I know, honestly.
But I want to say something. I thought that when you get vaccinated, it's imputed into a system. There's a database for people that are vaccinated. So if you're buying cards on the streets of Nigeria, let me not even call it particular place, will your name and your data be on that database?
You see,
just to let you know that unless the system itself is not working, are we saying the system is not
that's
working?
the junction where we
Because
find
if it's
ourselves.
just to show a card, and if there is a system at the immigration point or at the check-in where you can check, oh, is this in the database of the Nigerian vaccinated people, I don't think we should have an issue with selling cards on the
That's
streets.
where we have a problem. Now, let me give you an instance. My daughter, she had the NIN registration, and everything was done, and blah, and blah, and blah. So we were waiting for the paper, so to speak. All of a sudden, our data was missing. Okay. So the thing is that we have a fundamental problem here. Do we have now? The federal government is thinking about a booster, jab. My fear now is when I go there with my card, will my name be on the system? You're looking at a situation during the election. Thomas, you remember when I was covering I was covering the electoral processes, and I said, okay, before I move out of my territory, let me cast my vote. I have my card. I was disenfranchised. Now you want to say, do we have a database?
The point is that
I wonder how data gets missing on the system.
Are you sure that we're imputing the data into the database?
That's the problem.
To answer the NIN thing, I was quite educated on that because my kids went to do NIN. When I did mine, it was automatic. I was registered immediately into the database, and a slip was given to me. at the immigration office. But lately, when the whole nation is now registering, I believe the NIMC, who is managing that NIN,
yes.
they said when those centers collect those data, there's a queue to put it on the central system. So what you got was maybe your daughter's data has not been imputed into the central
Now,
system
how long?
because there's a backlog.
Now,
That takes her back to government.
That's it. That's what I'm saying, that how long does it have to take? We're talking about, I'm not talking about an immediate thing. I'm talking about for almost a year. She did it when she was in a junior secondary school class 2. She's in junior secondary school class 3 now. And we still could not find the data. So how long? So there's a
They didn't tell you to re-register?
That was what she had to do.
I want us to look quickly at this because the federal government is kicking against this step that Canada is taking.
That is my problem. On what base, on what ground, on what basis are we doing that? You know, now come to think of it, you see, I don't want to tread that.
Don't worry. Just read your own. Just read your own banner headline.
I don't want to go.
I said just read your own banner. It's only your banner.
This morning I have with me Nigerian Tribune, and it's coming with a list story. Omicron variant. Also, UK suspends processing of visitors visa applications from Nigeria. You can find that on the page 27 of a Nigerian Tribune. Residents traveling from Nigeria to pay £2,285 pounds for 10-day quarantine. You know, my
Nigerians pay.
My older friend. Some Nigerians will pay. No, some Nigerians.
That's 2 million naira.
No. You can take that to the bank.
I know some Nigerians would pay because some will want to go to the UK for medical reasons. Some have children in the UK.
Nigerians
some want to do holiday. But it is actually not fair on the average Nigerian that has a reason to travel to the UK and cannot spend.
Now, you see, we're talking about the lives of people here. We're talking about, when we talk about COVID-19, unfortunately, it is not your life that is at stake. It's about 1,000,001 people that comes in contact with you, that their lives is at stake. Unfortunately unfortunately, it could be that you have the immunity to contain it. The person getting it from you might not.
So you're saying that we should stay in our country?
Everybody, if you cannot, if we cannot get the basics, if we cannot try and get our axis right, then we should stay here, do our homework, and
and get it done.
Honestly, it's just I feel that this is an on call for Nigeria to wake up. It's high time we wake up to our responsibilities. So many things. Honestly, I beg. Let me say, why Nigeria must be restructured. Tambuwa talking here says to unveil presidential bill. 75% of human diseases originate from animals, coming from veterinary council acting registrar. Nigerians to pay more as shipping lines said to increase cost of freight. Insurance don't college. 160,000 signed petitions seeking prosecution of those involved in Sylvester or Romani's torture death. We are open to investigation. That's coming from the school management. And above the nameplate, we have Senate uncovers how PEF placed 34 billion naira in fixed deposit account without remitting interest. 8 children found dead inside vehicle in Lagos. Sad one this morning.
All right, I want to take a look at that story critically, and let's begin with 8 children found in a vehicle in Lagos. 8 children found dead in the vehicle in Lagos. I saw the video all over social media, and I used to say that women are the endangered species. Now I think I'm going to amend that and say children are now the endangered species, especially here in Nigeria. 13.5 million children out of school. Almajiri, children. Kidnapped victims, children. Now ritual targets, children. And now we're looking at mysterious deaths. 8 children inside a vehicle, dead. Our schools no longer safe.
It's a very big problem. I tell you, as a mother, as a parent, is a big challenge now. But it's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's all over the world. Children are being used as, to fight wars, as children of war. So many things are happening concerning kids. About the case of the abandoned vehicle where the 8 kids are, I don't even know where investigation is going to start from. Whether the kids were homeless, and maybe they saw a car and decided to sleep in it, or whether they were dead before they were put in the car as a way to, cover a crime or something.
The report we had is that they were coming from school, and I think when they were looking for them, they didn't return home. So there was a search party by the Hausa community in that area. I think most of them are from the northern part of the country.
Okay, an autopsy has to be carried out for us to know what happened with those 8 kids. But I will still appeal to parents here. We are the primary caregiver of our children. I know that the economy is so difficult for everyone, so we kind of cut corners when it comes to kids. I remember the first few years I was married, I never did any job. I didn't have a regular work because I decided that I was going to be driving my kids to school and back with the driver.
But
I just made up my mind. At that time, the kidnapping was very rampant, and I told myself that I'd rather trade as much as I could, but make sure that I'm in the vehicle when my kids are there, keep an eye on them. A few families can do that because of economic reasons, but sometimes having a child is a sacrifice. That's why you see a lot of women nowadays, they don't want to have children because they can't sacrifice their time, their financial status to do that. You can never trust anyone with your child. Only God. So I would advise that parents should be more vigilant. I mean, taking your children to school and letting them walk home alone. That would have been the scenario for the one in Badagry with 8 kids in a car that are dead. Why don't you pool resources together as parents? If you know you have to work, you have financial disadvantages, let's at least in your neighborhood assign a parent. Monday you do it, Tuesday we do it, Wednesday we do it. Those are solution-based things. And you can take permission from work that it's my turn on Tuesdays. I might have to leave work early, or I might not get to work on time. So these are things that communities have to start discussing. We need to increase the safety of our kids in other caregivers' hands. 75% parents are responsible for whatever happens to your child. In the Durham College case, for example, I had a daughter that went to Durham College years ago. She's working now. And it was a safe environment. Somehow along the line, so many things have gone wrong. That's what I have to say. And we parents too, our sensitivity goes a long way. There's nobody in Nigeria that has not been bullied, whether at the workplace, even as an adult.
Exactly.
You understand? Even as an adult. Then let's think about children. When my daughter was in primary school, I won't call the name of the school now, very big popular school in Lekki. She was in primary 5 and she came home one day. She lost school because it was this interactive kind of school, a Jevota kind of school where children want to go to school. And then one evening, she told me, I don't want to go to school anymore. She started wailing and crying. I lost it because I knew that there was another message. Yes. So the next day, I went to school with her, went to the class teacher and said, my daughter is a smart girl. She likes school so much. There's something wrong. Her wailing and crying. In the process of investigating, we found out a group of girls in her class were tormenting her. When in the bathroom, they were pulling her hair. They would say she stole somebody's exercise book, stole somebody's t-shirt. And those things now made her to withdraw. So because I was involved, it opened the eyes of the school. We started discussing with the parents of the kids. Of course, they were in denial because there's no proof. But what happened was that my child became an untouchable because she had a mother that would fight. And then I told her, I said, when we're growing up, our parents tell us that if somebody hits you, hit back before you come and report to me. They will say, oh, 40 ekpada. You now came back home. Well, 40 ekpada, no? So it was a tough call because we didn't raise our kids like that. But I now had to tell her, fight back before you come back home. Meaning to say, If anybody tries to be mean to you, say something mean back. That is the way you treat bullies. Because if you keep being docile, they keep encroaching on your space. But once they see that you have the
courage and the confidence,
they take a step back. It doesn't mean they're not coming back, but at least they take a step back and start to wonder, where are you getting the strength, the confidence to fight back? And then by that time, you've gained some power. You now come home, and I'll back you up. I'll go with you to the school. And it all comes down to communication. Are we communicating with our kids? Why should our kids fear an external force and
more
not
than
be able
us
to confide in you?
in us as a parent? All right, this morning we're talking about boarding schools, and my question is it a safe haven or a nightmare? Now, so many stories have made the rounds, not just on social media, have always been averse to boarding school. My kids can go to boarding school. My kids can go to boarding school. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I just cannot. It's just something that I can never do. As a matter of fact, in university, I was practically living at home and living in school. Because I can just wake up in the morning and just bloop. I had parents who would drive from Malaysia to Ife, and it was like their backyard, because it was a 30-minute journey from my father's house to my school. So all my siblings went to schools that were very close to the house in the union. So imagine me, I've always had this thing against public schools. And then I discovered that every time my cousins, friends who go to public school come back home, they always had stories to share. Now, they share those stories more with their friends than their parents, which comes back to what you just shared.
Well, I'm a product of boarding school. I grew up in Kwara. I schooled in Federal Government Girls College, Owerri. And I finished, I went to Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. So I didn't have the luxury that you had. Look, let's be factual here. You can't go to boarding school and not experience a little bit of bullying. Maybe it's a senior, even emotional abuse. It might not always be physical. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you can't also say as a senior you've never punished a junior unjustly. But what we are saying is that it's gotten to a very terrible extent, because boarding schools teach your child independence. Whether you like it or not, the child starts to realize, look, I'm not home anymore. I need to start to make my own friends, relate with people, and then it starts to bring out characteristics, that shows who he or she can be. That's when you find out that, oh, I'm a good orator. I can act properly. I can sing very well, because boarding schools then create programs in which children can excel, which is not strictly academics. And then it gives you this familiar relationship with other people. Let me tell you, those are the major advantages of boarding school. And then when you go to boarding school, the kind of bond you have with, I went to a girls' school. So you could imagine now, 30 years later, we see ourselves, we're like, there's a bond. Anywhere I go and I see an alumni, my classmates, I know that whatever I want to do there is done. If you were a day student, you might not fall into that category. Because in boarding house, you would have performed some escapades together. Maybe sneaked in some snacks that you were not allowed to. Memories that keeps you going. That is not to say there was never bullying. There will always be. But what we are saying is that because people come from different environments, what parents don't understand that everything your child exhibits in school is from an emotional trauma, a psychological disorder, from home. We have to be more careful. Look, the school, like I always say, can only do 25% of bringing up your child. But what some parents have done is dump their child in school and expect the teachers and the headmistress and the principal to do the rest of the work. We are the primary caregiver. I told you 75% depends on us.
But then they say that the visiting day in a boarding school is just once a term. One Saturday.
No. Once a month. It's once a month.
I had kids that went to boarding school. My last baby is in boarding house right now in Lagos, and I had daughters, like my daughter that was bullied in primary school. I made sure she didn't go to boarding school because I needed to boost her confidence. So you see, children are different, and that's why I say it's the parents' choice. The one that was bullied and I had to take time to reorientate her, I made her go from home. The other kids that had a lot of confidence, and I made them go straight to boarding house.
See,
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it goes both ways. You study your child, the needs of a particular child. That is what makes you to determine that. Then visiting data is once a month. I mean, you doesn't mean that there's no communication. The schools have a lot of programs. Even with COVID, they make you talk to the teachers for classwork. They have weeks where it's about your child's schoolwork, where you go in and study what my child has been up to. And as a smart parent too, you know, when you get reports about your child, dig in. Make your child confide in you. Mommy, this weekend, this happened. Even when it's not to them. You'll be shocked if your child tells you tales, how many things you will hear about other kids and other teachers. I'm telling you the fact.
No, I can feel you. My daughter is in a boarding house. I can feel you.
So when you have that time, when they come home for midterm break, because in boarding house there's midterm, you visit once a month. That doesn't exclude all those classwork kind of visitations. And sometimes when they are doing a concert, and then they have phone call days within the week. So you develop a relationship with the housemaster, housemistress. It's a lot of work for a parent.
Even
Are you sure? That's if they're at home, it's not a lot of work. Because when they're at home, you do more work.
No.
Even at home, you are just talking like this because once they're in secondary school, they are a bit independent. When they're in primary school, if they're at home and you're busy, you are leaving your children to nannies, to drivers, to housekeepers. What values did they have growing up? So you have to be 24/7 on the watch. I remember when I had my first daughter, they named me, they tagged me, because I was always there. If you take my child away from me for 10 minutes, I'm watching you. And they gave me one phobia about it. But I didn't mind because that was how I felt at that time. By the time I had others, I was now a pro. But in the beginning, I was always watchful. What's she putting in her mouth? Who's talking to her? And then I had all the sexual conversations with them. Don't touch this part. If somebody don't sit on anybody that's not daddy or mommy. You know, don't sit on their laps. Somebody touches you in those private places, don't bother, just tell me. If anybody tells you, don't tell your parents this. No, that is the one you should tell me. So from 3 years old, you start to educate them. Anybody that say, don't tell mommy. If you tell mommy, I'll kill you, I'll destroy you, come and tell me. It's because they now give you sweets and candy. So you see, you are developing that relationship. So the child tells you everything. Even when they grow up to have boyfriends, they have relationships outside, they are confident enough to tell you.
Come and tell you.
And the way we receive it is very important.
The information now that they do share.
Because if you receive it alarmingly, it scares them off. If you receive it and you are too harsh in judgment, it scares them off, especially when they become teenagers, which is when the boarding school era is. They keep a lot of secrets. You understand? So when they feel not confident in telling you things because you are screaming, you are shouting, you are not handling it well, they won't confide in you anymore. It's normal.
Yeah.
We all pass through that phase.
You know, honestly, one of the things that I really want to ask, because I know that you both have children in boarding house. I don't. As in, Nkakedi knows, I have that phobia. I don't. I'm like the witch in my house. So I really don't. But one of the things that was really, of concern to me is the fact that now, as a parent, you observe that my child took, a totally different dimension when she came back from boarding house this term. She has only spent 1 term or 2 terms or thereabout. I'm beginning to notice she's a bit more docile. Maybe she was a confident child. She's a bit more docile. I'm beginning to notice she's a bit more quiet. I'm beginning to notice the environment, around her. She seems to be lost in the environment most times. I observe, apologies to the people I'm going to talk about, I observed, among some kids in my former church. I noticed that there was a trend. They all were going to the same school, and they were really these active kids in primary school. Everybody wanted to do things with them. And then they went to secondary school, the same school. So the first one to go came back and became very docile, very meek, very mute. You know, a very active, super active child who talks a lot now becomes mute. And I'm wondering, oh, it became cold. And yet, the parents persisted. He kept going to the school. When the younger one was ripe for secondary school, she was also sent to the same school. And then, some other parents followed the same trend. Now, I've observed it. My child was not at that level yet. But I could see from outside and say, something is fundamentally wrong with the training they give these kids in school. And then the parents insisted and kept taking the children down. As a parent, at what point would you say, I cannot take this any longer? Your child is in boarding school. You've made all of these observations. Will you just keep saying, I've spoken to them in the school and they've promised to change? How do you deal with it?
Let me give you an instance. You know, my daughter had, fortunately she's in the studio this morning. We had a serious issue, we had a case of bullying, and trust me, even the principal knew that they stepped on the, not really that, they stepped on the wrong toes, because what she said was, hey, I'm a journalist. So, it was my daughter and another child that was involved in it. Actually, what happened was that apparently some of the senior students were dancing in somewhere, God knows, well, when they were, there, and our friend that happens to be our setmate passed an insultive comment. So they dragged her, they started beating her up. Now, my daughter stood by the window and she looked and said to them, no, she didn't even say it to them, passed a comment, just like a passing comment, as in, oh my God, of course what this girl said was really bad. I cannot even imagine myself saying such a thing. My mother should not even hear that I said such a thing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't give them the right to beat her this much. That was where she went wrong. So one of them heard, picked her up, and started beating her. Honestly, the beating was, I'm not talking about 10 girls, more than 10 girls. So what I want to talk about, I took action. I got, it was a day before their vacation, and I got to know about it. Trust my daughter now. So I took action. But coming back to your question, the feeler I got from the other woman, the mother of the other girl, is the kind of the father will not allow me to talk. The father, is like it's been for the upton time. That's the first for my daughter. My daughter is always, and I need to mention this, that they actually even told her that, we know you tell your mother everything and anything. If you like, tell her this one. If you tell her this one, we will tell the SS3 that they are coming to take it up from where we stopped. They actually said that, they bullied them to silence, and he almost even got into my daughter. She almost did not want to tell me what happened, So, but for my daughter, I think that was the really first, other than I poured her water away, she spoke to me, the normal hostel paparazzi. That was the really first time she had, what I got from that woman, the feel I got was that I think her daughter has been bullied
several times
and over again, but she's been subdued. Like she wants to, over the holidays, she will be chatting me, we have to do something. I just kept calming her down, that I'm taking action. I won't just do. But the thing, at the end of the day, I can only act for my daughter. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. She needs to pick up the case. But what I got was that she's had it up here. She wanted the man to do something. But the man, she said there was a time she talked at the PTA meeting, and the man said, are you doing a parent there? Are you doing it? So, those are the shortcomings of some parents. Now, one parent, it could be the mother, it could be the father, might not be there physically. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He will not understand what is going on
at that point in time.
You feel you have had it up to this place. Your spouse feels that there's no big deal.
Especially if your
Especially-
spouse is somebody
but I
who,
tell
didn't, who
people-
went to boarding school and I am the other one who didn't go to
Exactly.
boarding school.
So I tell people that when it is enough, it is enough. It might not even only be a case of a bullying, a case of, it could be an health issue, like like we were saying. I was discussing that I'm planning taking her off from the boarding house, because even after the incident, every time I'll ask her how is school, I say everybody school is coming down, everybody. And it's like that action, because at the end of the day, after the punishment, they brought them out for an open apology to my daughter. So it's like that action. It's like, as come by, everybody's coming down. Say, I know they'll be looking at with one eye. And of course, they're made to be like, hey, the hero of our times and all that. So I know that bullying is a forgone issue for her. But now we're looking at health issues. I realized that this time, which is unlike her, this is her third year in the school. She's been coming home almost every other week on health grounds, and I'm looking that, okay, I think
It's about time.
So it might not be a whole lot of things could be involved. At the point you see that, look, it is better than to be sorry. Now let's take the Dowen
case, which is what I want
case
to
study.
Our director has some of those videos that I'd like to share with us this morning. If any of them is ready, you can just put them up there, especially the one where the father was explaining exactly what happened. Now, you mentioned in your case that the school had to tender a written apology.
No, because I actually know, after all the paparazzi and everything, maybe because I'm a journalist, and I know what is. So I actually wrote, and I run an NGO, so I actually wrote an official letter
To them.
with the letterhead of the NGO. Yes.
Okay.
So, and in the letter, we requested for a written apology and a statement that a reoccurrence will never happen. So, all those, they gave us, a letter. All the
an active mom.
my daughter.
All right. Now, in this case,
And I'm talking about a popular school, a very popular school.
Now, you're looking at a school that has been there for as long as your daughter is working.
Yeah.
So it's not a new thing. It's not a new school. A lot of people know that this school has been there, for over 20 years. This child in question fell sick. Is it the custom of a school to lie about, they played football, he fell during football?
No. Let's get the facts straight. According to Sylvester, to his parents, some guys came into the hostel in the night, a group of boys, and they beat him up and told even the junior students and himself to lie
And
say he fell maybe when playing football, so that he wouldn't mention their names. So it's not the school that lied. You understand?
It was a report.
It was the report the school got.
And that's where I have
Let me tell you where the problems are. In these hostels, at least it's a boarding school of that status. They have house-masters.
That's what I'm going to.
They have house mistresses
of what
there.
happened in my daughter.
They have security guards there. They are supposed to always be on the lookout for these kids. I mean, when it's lights out, they are supposed to be parading until like 10, 11 to make sure that all kids are asleep. You understand? So what upsets me or what worries me about
Where were they?
Where were they?
Where were they?
When there's no way they will beat a child that much.
It didn't happen in 1 minute.
No,
it didn't happen in 1 minute. It didn't happen in 5 minutes.
And then there will be no cry out. There will be no noise. So
That
that
couldn't
is
have-
where
couldn't have
the
happened.
school is culpable. Who are those in charge of the boarding hostels on that day, at that part? And I can assure you, that child is not the first one that was beaten that way.
You see, when my daughter's case happened, the first thing, when the principal, after all the, hey, Omo journalist, Omo TV presenter and all that, and she immediately called for the matron.
Exactly.
Matron wasn't aware. The whatever floor, house, whatever, not aware.
They might be aware.
Well, according to.
Let me tell you.
According to what
Let me tell you. The house mistresses.
Now, tell me where am I?
The matrons. They even know
Where
the
they
boys
were
that
rather.
are bullies.
Good.
I'm telling you the
which is
facts
exactly
now.
what I want to point out
Look,
here.
my daughter is in a boarding house where every little thing, they've sent away so many house mistresses for as much as telling a child you're a bastard, you're an idiot, or slapped a child out of anger. So I'm trying to say the school is culpable in the sense that those that are in charge of the hostel cannot say they don't know.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
But is there on social media against?
No, because
No, that's not what it's
thing.
against.
Even
You are
the thing.
responsible. That is your job.
Because that was what I said when it happened to my daughter. I said, but how could you? Because this thing, initially they were beating one child up.
And then they added the second one.
Added it. It could have happened
And
for
then
like 30 minutes or 1 hour.
That is not the first one, because I read it on social media yesterday. A lady put it there that her son went through the same problem in that same school. She even mentioned the housemaster's name. The house Mr. Ahmed, Mr. This, and
mentioned all of their
Let me tell
names.
you, what is the criteria for picking these people,
are
housemasters and
caregivers.
housemistresses, caregivers in our boarding houses? Are we trying to shortchange funds and then we just bring anyhow anyone and name them housemaster, housemistress, matrons? That's question number one. In the process of making more money for the school. Because people that should handle kids should have a psychology certificate somehow.
Let me ask you another
Somehow.
question.
You
Because you're
understand
talking
what I'm
about
saying?
what the school is culpable for.
Yes, they
The
are.
father of the boy said something, just the first 1 minute of that video. He explained something the principal said to him when he saw the video of the boy on social media. And he asked the question. Let's listen to him.
Nobody called us. The principal did not call. The house did not call. We were the one that called. It's only one teacher. It's just one teacher. I don't know the name of the teacher. It was the only person who called just to check up on the boy. Even if there's 2 teachers, nobody called. Nobody called. As I'm speaking to you, up to today, the owner of the school has not even called. Has not called. The only time the principal called me was to say, why did I send those pictures when he was passing through pain? Why did I send those pictures to the public? That the boy is a very handsome boy. Those pictures, anybody that sees those pictures will be scared of, even herself was even scared of opening those pictures. I told her, Madam, I saw your press statement. You are not telling the people the truth. I sent that text when the boy died. I said, Madam, you have children. Please, I need thorough investigation. You too, you have children. I only sent text to the housemaster, Mr. Ahmed. He was the one taking care of my child. The day I carried my son to go pick up his bags from the school while he was taking care of him.
This is so sad.
Now, you see, I want to say a big thank you, first of all, to Arise News, who had that exclusive interview with the father of Sylvester Oromoni yesterday. This is what gave me goose pimples when I was listening to that video yesterday and I was watching it live. One of the things that they said is the fact that, why did you put the video, the picture of the boy, in pain on social media? You don't want to be
That goes
accountable.
back to what I'm saying. This short-changing of values, when you're in charge of plenty kids and you're taking a lot of money from parents, we should actually, those should be investigated thoroughly.
Honestly.
Not only on this case, it means that
So many things are
they
happening.
hire people that are not capable to do the jobs they're supposed to do. Because I've had excellent teachers for my kids. They look out for the child beyond school.
No, you know the issue we have usually in this part of the world, in Nigeria, is that we cannot sustain value. They're talking about so many years ago.
Yes.
Over the times. Now, one thing we have is that, we have the name. We have built a name. We have built a kind of,
Image.
image in the society. How much can we sustain it? How far do we sustain it? So what happens most often than not is that most of the times we dwell with, you know, people
On past glory.
on past glory, and what is happening?
An image is more important than the welfare of the kids.
That's what happens.
And that
So
is
much
exactly what
we
the
cannot
principal is
sustain.
concerned
We
about.
cannot
Did you
sustain
hear?
value. That is
Yes.
the issue we
We
have.
can't sustain value because we don't want to pay for value.
No, now what? Imagine this. Another thing came out in that conversation. The man said even his teacher did not call.
He said only one teacher.
Only the
did.
one that taught him in GSS 1. The boy is in GSS 2.
That's what I'm saying. See, how do we employ caregivers in these schools?
The principal of the school is a woman. That's another
She
reason.
cares
I have
about
to-
the image of the school
more
than
than
the
She-
children
no, no,
she's taking care of.
We all know on this table that she's all she cares about is her job.
She doesn't want to lose the job.
Exactly.
So
Well,
the image is more important.
Image is more important.
let
That's
me
what
go
I'm
to-
saying. Because look, if she had acted immediately
everywhere.
when she saw that video and she's screaming in the media that we have to
We
investigate
don't do this in
this
Nigeria.
is not
We
what
don't
we do.
accept.
The child said it was a football this thing. This was the procedures we took, and everybody's culpable. From the head to the tail in that hostel, they are culpable.
Very true.
Because I can tell you, those boys, they know themselves.
Yes,
the children,
definitely.
they know
Know
them.
them.
The house
Definitely.
mistress, they know them.
Definitely.
The teachers know them. They might come from very affluential, influential families.
For someone
and
to
all of
remember,
us,
for a child to go to the one college, you should
and
be-
all of a
not
sudden,
at the average person.
the teachers are cowed. Because I've seen situations where teachers are sacked because they try to correct a student in some schools.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So they are scared to express themselves to say, this is how your child is behaving. It takes a strong-minded individual as a teacher with a bit of psychological background that can stand toe to you and say, yes, your child is a mess.
Now, let's
You
do
understand
this.
what I'm saying?
A couple of people, you're calling, it's an SMS or a WhatsApp message. Now, what you need to do for me this morning is if you're watching the Bumper Breakfast and you'd like to participate in the conversation, text message or WhatsApp message to the number on your screen. But you do me a favor as well. While you're at it, you're going to take a picture of yourself with your TV set showing that you're watching us, and then you send that to that number on the screen. So wherever you're watching us from right now, all over the country, just take a picture, a selfie of yourself in front of your TV, watching the Bumper Breakfast, and send it to the number on your screen. Another thing I'd like to draw out, a particular young lady on social media also wrote, she is an alumni of that school. So she said that while she was in the school, the teachers even bullied the pupils. Now, they give you the uniform, and then they complain that your uniform is too short. Why did you give me a short uniform? Now, I'm going to be very nice by not mentioning the name of this other high-end school who has branches all over Lagos, still on the island, still in Ibejuleki. I go to the school, and it's relatively supposed to be a British school. And I saw that all of the kids, their skirts were not up to their knee. And majority of them,
I think I know that school.
majority of them were on pop socks. The younger ones were on pop socks. Now, I saw really big girls. I mean, my children are big, so I understand. I saw really big girls whose
short
skirts
skirts.
were very short. And I'm saying the parents that can afford to put a child in a school of 700,000 naira a term can afford to buy them school uniforms. Why do you keep giving them short uniforms? They're in the hostel. Do they shorten the uniforms?
No, that's
Sometimes.
I think children take it home and cut it short.
And then when
But
they
the
bring it back,
school rule should be, it should be below the knee.
No,
So,
it looks as if
sometimes.
it looks
No,
as if
sometimes.
in that school. I don't know if we're talking about the same school now, because almost all of them.
no, I saw Mary Amaka skirts. I saw some girls in that school that day that had Mary Amaka. Their skirts were almost three-quarter.
Because we
So
when I saw the
there
women
are
skirts.
particular girls that do that. They are flaunting the school rules. So sometimes we parents too have to partner with the school. When the children are being corrected fairly, we should not go storming and shouting and screaming just because we have money or we've donated a hostel or we built something or gave a grant to the school, so that the school authorities can do their job. My daughter's school, there's a way the length of your hair should be, there's a way it should be packed, there's a way your uniform will be. I've gone to the school with my kids before, and they told my son he didn't cut his hair, he can't call me. And you know, as we were driving to school, I told my son, you need to cut your hair lower. And he told me this is acceptable. So when we got to the school and the teacher received it, said, I won't allow you in. I could have used my influence because the teacher was my friend and said, just allow him. You know what I did? I just said, go with the driver and look around everywhere to see where you can cut your hair.
That's it.
And I give you 30 minutes. If you are not here, I will leave. You have to sort yourself out. What I've done was to work with the school authority to correct my son.
Exactly.
But how many parents do that?
Now, another school, this one is in Osun State and is right by my father's backyard. This one is a school that I always knew. Another reason why I had phobia, because I had
Child committed suicide. Was that the one?
a child committed suicide in one, and then a girl came out yesterday on social media, sent it to a friend and a colleague of ours, and he shared the video with the message with me, and he said, this lady said she was raped by 13 boys.
In that school?
Sexually assaulted by 13 boys in that school. And when she ran that night, she finally was able to find a way to wiggle herself and escape. And she was really this brilliant child whom everybody had eyes on. And she found her way to the principal's house in the school. The principal looked at her. You know, the wife checked her up. They quickly took her to the matron who checked her and everything and said there was trauma, vaginal trauma. And then they took her to the clinic and, you know, treated her and all that. 3 days, they didn't call the parents. Wow. For 3 days. The only reason the parents and the aunt who lives in Ibadan, very close to Ilesha, was able to get to her was because another parent came to visit a classmate of her sister. Her elder sister was in the school. And the elder sister borrowed the parents' phone to call their parents and their aunt in Ibadan. Their father was in Kaduna, the mother was in Lagos. And the man flew to Lagos and then they drove down. But the aunt had gotten to them faster, who was in Ibadan. So it was another parent's phone that was used to contact their parents. Their parents said the school never contacted them. So 3 days after this girl was raped, assaulted, multiple assaults, the school never contacted the
This
parents.
week I'm getting scared of boarding houses.
You now get it. Now, the interesting part about this story is the fact that the owner of the school is also a king.
He's also a king.
Yes. So he punished the girl who was raped, and they removed her from the honors list of the school. So she was
The girl
punished.
was raped.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And the boys went scot-free.
And the boys were given the same punishment as the girl who was raped. And he told her to stop saying she was raped.
That's
Now,
dangerous.
the girl down the line is now demanding for a public apology from the school. She's an adult today.
Wow.
She's ready to take them up. And she's demanding for an apology.
Please come to Evolving Women. We will support you.
So, I'm calling on every woman out there who at some point has been assaulted, raped, and told in any school to do like this. The time to come is now. You can reach out to us on the number on your screen, send your messages, and we will compile these things and begin to call out these schools one by one, because this is the one college we're talking about. And I
Yes.
make bold to say I'm talking about Olashore International School, Ilesha. It's at my father's backyard, as I said. So anybody who knows me knows that I'm talking about the school. There are so many cases of so many kids from that school. They feed them so well, but then bullying, rape, assault. I mean, it's too much.
And the Olashore does not have the custom of visitation. I think that's part of the
You
problem.
dump your children
You
and then
drop
you
the
come back.
child, and then at the end of school,
You come and
quickly
pick them.
up. That's the rule. That's the law. I mean, that's the practice in there.
In that school.
So it's very disappointing if allegedly, let me just
Yes,
put it
allegedly, this girl has accused the school
if
of doing
allegedly
this to
those
her.
kind of things have been happening, I mean, it can only bust at this time.
Yes.
Because all our eyes are open now.
Everybody's
We are
talking on social
getting
media.
involved. You understand? Every most NGOs, even the government, is now getting involved. So what we should start looking at are practical solutions.
So
I mean,
yes.
if we continue this, we will do it the whole day. Stories
Open
everywhere.
stories.
So what we should actually start thinking is, what are the practical solutions to check the schools, and protect our children.
At the
Because
same time.
you might be able to, make your children day students. A lot of parents travel every time, and they want the children to be in
My
a safe
time is
environment.
gone, and we
Yes.
need to go.
Yes, so we need to start looking at practical solutions, which have divided into 3: dialogue, education, and rehabilitation.
I think we have
We
this
need
topic
to
some other
go.
time.
Dialogue, rehabilitation, and education.
and rehabilitation.
Thank you
That's
so
what
much
is
to
important.
Chief Mrs. Raliat Abdulsallam for being with us on the Bumper
I
Breakfast
so
today.
enjoyed myself with beautiful ladies.
Thank you so much. Inka Kenny has been here with me. We say bye-bye to all of you. Don't forget, you get to send those messages. Take a picture, a selfie, and send to us on the number on the screen. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Yeah.